Well, this is that burled walnut root that I bought from Russia that was supposed to have been stabilized, and it absolutely is not stabilized. I've cut this into usable sizes for me. So, I'm not gonna, and it's, got holes and stuff which I can deal with super glue and sawdust, but I'm not confident that this won't come apart on a handle without being stabilized. So it goes with all the other stuff I need to send out and have stabilized. It's beautiful, beautiful wood though. And then I'm going to cut this into knife slab sized pieces. And eventually I'll find a place that stabilizes cheap enough that I can afford. Eventually I'm going to have to start doing it myself, but I've looked at the equipment and it's something I definitely can do. It's just the initial investment in the equipment and the resin that you need to use with the stabilizing process. It's like $100 a jug, and you use a lot. So I'll do it myself eventually, but I'm gonna have to get online and start finding places that will do this for me at a reasonable cost. All right, I'm fixing to go cut this into usable pieces and then box this up and bring it to the house and start looking for a place that'll stabilize everything for me. My intention was to use this on my the Texas Rumble I'm working on, but I don't want to wait that long. I want to get one built, and it will be my first Texas Rumble that I'm actually going to be having for sale. Here is the Caddo that I made while y'all watched in my live stream. And I'll be sanding on that this week. So now this is ready for heat treatment and tempering and cleaning back up. And I have some other stabilized wood right here. Let me see. Let me look at to see if that would fit. That would fit. So I'll be using this for the handles. I do have this, but I'm not ready to use it yet. And this is that desert ironwood stabilized. Okay, let me get this heat treated. All right, I got the handles cut out, and that's for the Texas Rumble. And I'm starting to sand the nose, and I think I've mentioned this before, but the reason you sand the nose of these handles before you put them on is because once they're on, you can't sand this without scratching the blade. So I still have a good bit of sanding to do here, as you can see, but I'm getting there. Boy, these pins are tight. I'm using solid pins for the first time. And I like the look of solid pins too. Mosaic pins, they do add that little extra kick to the looks of it. But I think this knife with the light colored handles and the dark colored blade is going to look really nice with solid brass pins. And I'm probably going to do a dark sheath, dark chocolate brown, that kind of dark. And a light colored thread with some tooling, but not a whole lot. This is going to be a very, it's going to all go, the sheath and the knife, they're going to all go together. You know what I mean? All right, let me get back to work sanding here. Oh, I wanted to tell you a funny story. Do I want to just, Okay, I will tell you a funny story. Let me go to my door. No, let's roll over there. That'll make you dizzy? Okay. We have been hearing yipping, barking, and it's an odd bark. And to me, it sounds like a smallish dog in distress that's maybe hung up or under something it can't get out or got his collar hung up on something. I mean, it doesn't sound like a normal bark of a dog. And the more I heard it, the more I was concerned that there might be a dog somewhere out here that might be hung up on something. Or, got in something and couldn't get out. And today I just couldn't stand it anymore. My wife's been hearing it too. So, and it sounds like it's coming from the person's property way over on the other side there. And they have a barn. You can almost see the barn. Let me see if I can. Yeah, you see that right there? That's the tip of their barn right there. And I thought, well, maybe it's got in there and it can't get out because it has caved in a part of it. And since I talked to these people, I found out from her brother that a tree did come down on it. So, anyway, I drove around and went over there, and I knocked on the lady's door, and, she's probably 70 or thereabouts, maybe a little older. And she came to the door, and she peeked out the curtains, and, I'm a big guy with a beard, and I had my dark sunglasses on like I always do when I'm out in the sun because my eyes are sensitive to sunlight. Anyway, so I understood that she was kind of hesitant to open a door to a stranger, especially one that looked like me. I wouldn't open a door for me. So anyway, she opens the door a crack, and I tell her who I am and where I live and why I'm there. And she wasn't the least bit concerned about a possible dog being hung up. And I intended to ask her if I could go down there and see if I could hear the dog, since she was she was mobile on a cane, but it didn't look like she could walk down across her property to the caved-in barn and look for an animal. But the attitude I was getting from her was that she didn't care. She was reluctant to talk to me. I understand that part. But after I explained to her that I had been hearing this dog that sounded like it was in distress, then she told me that they have a lot of cows over here. And she said that they have neighbors that let their dogs run. And over the years, they've had 3 calves come up dead because of stray dogs. And, if the dog is caught up under something, good. She's tired of asking her neighbors to keep their dogs from running her cows. And so I left there feeling a bit dejected. She wasn't concerned, and I wasn't satisfied that there wasn't a dog hung up. In the meantime, my wife called me on my way home, and she said she came down here and spotted the thing that was barking, and guess what? It's a fox, and that's why it's an odd bark. We didn't, we hear foxes all the time, but we hear them yipping, but this was a bark, and what it was Lucy. I guess that is the fox's territory from the fence on, and Lucy's been walking back and forth along this fence, and I think the fox is warning her or trying to scare her away from its territory. So that was funny. It definitely is a fox. It's not a dog hung up somewhere. Well, that was a relief. In the meantime, her brother was out here on the tractor, probably looking for me or to see, if I, in fact, did live back there. It's been a lot of crime in this little town. A lot of houses broken into, a lot of cars getting stolen and broke into. So everybody who's not just plumb stupid knows you really have to be careful with strangers, especially strangers that knock on your door with a crazy story. So anyway, he come back here just as I was pulling in here with my pickup truck back on the other side of that trailer. And I waved at him. And he stopped and he shut his tractor off, and I walked down there and I met him. And I'm convinced now that they know I'm a decent neighbor and I mean them no harm. And And the story I told them was true, that I thought I heard a dog barking. And while him and I are talking, behind him, not that far away, are two foxes out in his pasture playing. So we are just ate up with foxes over here. Do I use an S on the end of fox? Multiple foxes? I don't know. Fox-eye? So anyway, that's the story. I met her brother. He's 67. Les, real nice guy. We had a nice conversation at the fence. So everything's cool. There's no dog hung up. I feel good about that. I feel good about meeting him. Now he's going to tell his sister that he met me and I do live over here, and I wasn't telling a lie. She doesn't have nothing to worry about. So anyway, good day. No dogs hung up. It was a fox. We'll have to keep an eye on them. I don't think they will attack my dogs. I really don't think my dogs are in danger, but if they are, I have the remedy. And anyway, that was just a short story. Or is it too late for being a short story? Maybe it's a medium story. See you tomorrow. Okay, that's much better, and I'll tell you why. What had happened was, in a minute, okay? I let the tumbling media, the stones that are in my tumbler, the oil that I use evaporates over time. I did not know that. So basically this was running dry or with very, very little lubrication in there. And it completely rubbed the finish off. It rubbed through the etching. So this is good. I like that. Focus. There you go. I like that a lot. Okay. Now, on to the... Breezy. You're on one leg. How can you balance on one leg? Good Lord. Okay, so this is what I've decided to use on this is Bird's Eye Maple. I like Bird's Eye, and for some reason the Bird's Eye with a dark blade just really looks nice. Now I'm going to cut some pins. I've got to acetone the hell out of this to get all that oil off of there, especially the handle and the pinholes, and start working on my handle. And it's getting late in the day. I really want to get these epoxied on before the night's out, because I want to come out here tomorrow and start working on it. I got a little work done on that Caddo. A friend of mine, Pat, come over, and Bev gave Billy Jim's old toolbox. Get down there. Go lay down. Jim's old toolbox, and I got it out of Bev's shed and cleaned it up a little bit, because somebody at some point had spilt a whole quart of oil down the side of that toolbox, and it got everywhere. And I know who it was, but we won't mention any names. Ronnie. And anyway, Pat came by and picked up Billy's toolbox, and now I'm back to work. So I let that etch while Pat and I were talking, and probably about 15 or 20 minutes I let it set in there for its second time. So that is as dark as it's ever going to get, I guess. I have heard lots and lots of people talk about coffee etch, and I may try that. I don't have any coffee that I'm willing to risk or waste yet. And I've heard people say that instant coffee, you mix it up like really super, super strong. Stronger than you would ever drink it, and you let this soak. I don't know how long. I'll have to find out. You acid etch it, you clean it off, and then you soak it in coffee, and that's supposed to darken it up even more. So, there we go. I guess I'll see you tomorrow, because from here on until I go back in the house, I'm going to be working on handles.